Hello, I'm Tim Harris. This is Julie Harris, and this is Real Estate Coaching Radio.
That's right. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any future episodes. Thanks again for popping by. Hit that like button, and don't forget to leave your comments and questions so we can get right back with you.
We will. Thank you for continuing to make our podcast, Real Estate Coaching Radio, the #1 listened to podcast for real estate professionals in at least the United States. And let us know what you think about this video. Leave your comments below. Thank you.
3, 2, 1, and we are back, and we are sticking with the theme that we've done all week about expired listings. Why? Because expired listings are, I think, without a doubt, the single best opportunity there is in all of your marketplaces. And I'll give you a great example. I received a text yesterday from somebody who is interested in having Julie be their private coach. As you guys know, Julie had 5 spots open. I think you're actually haven't talked to all of your prospective people, and there's a lot of you that have responded, and I'm asking you questions as to whether or not Julie's the right fit for you through text. And if she's not, we do have other coaches, and if she is, then I'm setting a call up. I think you have probably 2 spots left.
Probably. I have to talk to everybody, but please do send your requests, and we'll talk to all of you, and we'll decide appropriately.
Right. So if you're interested in having Julie Harris as your private coach, as we've talked over the last 3 days, just text me directly at 512-758-0206. 512-758-0206. But I got an interesting text last night from a guy who's selling in Beverly Hills, right? And he, obviously going to have a great sale price, average sale price. And he realizes, and this is the reason I frankly, I was encouraged by what he had to say, and his potential was he's realizing he needs to learn how to be a proactive lead generator, which is 100% true. And so I asked him to do a quick search in the MLS for the number of expireds in his immediate area or his area. Now, when you're working in Beverly Hills, you might go up to the Bird Streets. You might go here, you might go there. You're probably not going to go into the Valley. If you guys are in LA, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, he just did a search mostly around Beverly Hills, didn't go too far out. And there were 2,500 expireds, I think there were. Now, if you were to have figured out, which I didn't do, but I'm hoping he's doing it, the average expired in that marketplace was probably $3 or $4 million. And if you think about the amount of commission that could have been or will be associated with each of those expired listings, it's extraordinary. That is the reason why, and I know a lot of you, most of you, 99% of you, you don't know about expired listings other than you know what they are, or maybe you don't even know what they are. An expired listing is simply where the listing is expiring. The amount of time that the current listing agent had to sell the house has expired, and now it's available to anyone in the marketplace who has the skill set to go after that listing. And that's one of the first things we're going to want all of you guys to learn how to do at our coaching program, obviously, is to learn how to go after expired listings. Again, the single best opportunity right now in real estate is expired listings. And I'll shorten your learning curve. You guys can talk forever about mailing them, emailing them, social network following them, handwritten notes, all these other things. What you should be doing is calling them and going to their door. Why? Here's the simple answer. I know it's going to be harder. I know you're going to be nervous about it. I know you're going to be scared about it. I know you're going to have to go through some learning curves in a short period of time, but guess what? You can do it. And here's the reason that you should be excited. Virtually all of your other quote-unquote competitors who are thinking about going after expireds aren't going to be willing to do the real work, which we're going to coach you how to do. They're the ones that are going to do the passive stuff. Proactive is a direct conversation with the decision-making adult. Passive is mailing something, hoping and praying that they call you back. You guys get the point? You'll learn how to do the passive stuff maybe after you've really mastered the proactive stuff. But in this market, do the proactive stuff. Get really good at it quick. Again, that's what we focus on primarily. We want you to be powerful listing agents. You want that too, right? And expireds are without a doubt the best opportunity. Is that clear enough?
Well, it is. And let's explain just quickly before we get into our top 8 secrets. There's lots of secrets to hunting expireds.
So it's 8 secrets. The topic, basically, it's our 8 secrets we're going to share with you about how to really be effective at hunting expireds. And we're going to get down to point number 1 here. But what were you about to say?
Well, so you were talking about don't bother mailing them and drip campaigning them and doing all this passive stuff. Well, why is that? It's because the best expires. What do we mean by best? People who actually have to sell, who know that their agreement is expiring and have already set up appointments where you could be another appointment. They did follow that date. They absolutely intend on relisting, and they must sell the property. Those are the ones that you want, and those are the ones who, by the time they get your passive drip system, email, postcard, text, they've already made their decision, and they're throwing that postcard out. So the best ones need to hear from you immediately. And we're going to talk about some other secrets.
That's 100% true. So be excited about this. It does not matter what's going on with interest rates, market conditions, days on the market, not enough inventory, too much inventory. You know, whether there really are aliens that are invading the United States or whether they're balloons from who knows where. None of it matters. What matters is you learn how to be of service to other people and essentially master the art and science of what it takes to be successful in this market. And you can do it. So we're gonna roll into these points. We're gonna go relatively quick because we know most of you are listening to us while you're working out on the treadmill or you're driving someplace, and we have you for about 30 minutes. So here is point number 1, Julie Harris.
Yes, secret number 1 to working with expireds. This is a practical one. There are more expired listings than you think. Now, you may not think there's any because you haven't been paying attention to the expired listings unless you watch your MLS hot sheet, especially daily, or you personally execute specific searches yourself. Don't just look in your favorite area code, zip code, or price range. Start your search very broad, like your entire MLS, and then you can narrow it in. You'll be surprised, probably shocked, by how many expired listings there actually are. Look every day, not just now and then.
Again, another salient example. This was now 2 weeks ago. We were in Florida. We were doing a live event with our EXP partners, Carrie Shaw and Dan Lesniak. And they were going to talk about expireds. And I asked Dan to look to see how many expireds there were in the greater, South Florida market. I don't remember the exact MLS area. And his app on his phone maxed out at 5,000. So most likely, there are more like 20 or 25,000 expireds. So what all of you should be doing, and here's exactly what you need to do so you can see this, because I want you to really feel the incredible excitement from seeing the opportunity that's in front of you, despite all the brouhaha you might be hearing about the market. Go to your entire MLS, like Julie just said, not just your tiny little hen-picked market, your entire MLS, and look for all the expireds and all the withdrawn that happened in the last 12 months. And then now again, some of you don't know actually how to use your MLS to look for expireds. It's expireds withdrawn going back 12 months. And then look to see, if you know how to do this, how many of those actually have been relisted and sold. And here's what you'll discover. Something like 90% of all expired listings relist and sell within 12 months. And vast majority, to what Julie just said, are relisted within 2 weeks after their expiration date. And who's your number one competitor when it comes to basically your expired listing? The agent who trying to recruit that seller to be your seller. Who's your number one competitor? The previous listing agent who failed. When that seller is given a viable alternative, a choice other than the agent who just failed to sell their house, they're going to list with that other agent. The reason that sellers, like when you contact a seller and you use our scripts and you follow our system, it's always about being of service. That seller is going to welcome you to their home, even if their initial intention is to relist with their previous agent. They're going to see that you're a more viable alternative, and that old agent had obviously done everything that they knew how to get the house sold. There's a little
You're
wink.
slipping into scripts,
I'm
right?
slipping into scripts, and you're going to see that seller is going to be appreciative and give the listing to you because they already gave that agent who was most likely from their center of influence and past client, they already gave them that opportunity to sell their house. Now they're ready to move on to hire a professional for the job of getting their home sold. That's what we teach you how to be in the coaching program. Point number 2.
Yeah, secret number 2, if you can't find a phone number to contact that owner, then no one else can either. Be the one who knocks on their door and offers to not just get it back on the market, but get it sold this time. Now, you can use a service like RedX, for example.
So text the word RED to 47372. Text the word RED, R-E-D, to 47372. And what RedX does is they find you the phone numbers, the addresses, contact information for those sellers. When Julie and I were selling real estate, we were using a very similar service. If we were to get back selling real estate, that's what we would use. This is one of the best services out there for doing the work for you. That way, when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to hunt and peck for phone numbers and do all that analytical work. They've already done the work for you. So text the word RED to 47372. They go into the MLS. They find the expireds and withdrawals. They find the phone numbers. They then help you make those phone calls. Use our scripts, use our pre-listing packs, and that's going to be your unfair advantage in the marketplace. Point number 3.
Yes, homeowners of expired listings will do things to get the home sold that they wouldn't do for the first agent. They will remedy the negative feedback, reposition the price, and loosen showing restrictions. They will do that for the second or third agent when they wouldn't do it right out of the gates because they figured their house was going to sell right away.
But you have to learn how to approach these sellers professionally. You have to learn how to set the appointment, pre-qualify, send the pre-listing pack, and go on a listing presentation that's catered to basically listing homes, but listing homes that have just expired. Because a lot of times, to Julie's point number 3, a lot of the sellers, if they'd listed, say, for example, 6 months ago, and then maybe they knew they had to sell within 9 months or something. Who knows what their time frame was? Maybe they have new construction closing, and they figured when they listed it 6 months ago that the house will sell and close in 90 days or 120 days. They're fine. Well, guess what? The new home's already closed. They're now making 2 payments. You're talking about the world's most motivated seller. Do you see, listeners, why we love expired sellers?
I know. They literally, it's so common because, our coaching clients do report in their sessions daily with our Harris certified coaches. And of course, my elite clients, I hear this from them as well. The sellers of expired properties, when they relist, they literally will say to the next agent, just tell me what to do to get it sold. Now, that's not something you commonly hear when it's a fresh listing. They say, let's try the price out. We've got time. We're building, whatever. So they will do things that they won't do on the first time.
Okay, point number 4.
Point number 4, here's a secret, contact the more expensive expireds first. Fewer agents call on them, and they are just as motivated. Same work for you with a bigger payoff at the closing.
So let's drill down on that. You're going to subscribe to RedX. You're going to text RED, R-E-D, to 47372, and you're going to then be getting all this fresh expired data. What most agents are going to do, most agents, especially in this market, because they're inexperienced and frankly unfamiliar and uncomfortable, and they're going to be, walking on thin ice emotionally, they're going to call the least expensive ones first because they are going to assume that those are going to be the easier ones to list. All kinds of psychological Mickey Mouses bouncing around in their brains. Well, you can't act like that if you want to be successful. You call the most expensive expireds first, or even better, you don't even pay attention to the price. You just call them all. And we have oftentimes coaching clients who are very, very hesitant about making expired calls because they're all screwed up in their head about price point, right? Maybe they live in a $500,000 house and they're scared of calling a $5 million seller. So a way of frankly tricking them is we remove the listing data and the price data, so all they have is a phone number and a name. Because guess what? The approach, the script, everything we teach you how to say works whether it's a $50,000 mobile home or a $50 million mansion. It's all the same. The approach is the same. So when you know that and you're making those phone calls and you don't know the price, you're going to, by accident, start listing more expensive homes because you're, guess what, setting the more expensive listing appointments. That is an experience I want all of you guys to have, because then you're going to realize all the ways that you've been holding yourself back as far as the experience and your potentiality in real estate. Next point, Julie.
Next point, number 5, relisted expireds almost always sell right away. You can see this on your MLS hot sheet. So watch that hot sheet to prove that to yourself. A listing will be on the market for 90 days, expire, then relist, often at a better price with improved pictures, and sell in like 2 weeks or less.
Okay, so this is really fascinating, but it's so just absolutely incredible to consider. You're going to learn how to list expired. You're going to sign up for our coaching program. You're going to then you're going to be comfortable and confident enough. You're never going to be 100%, trust me. And you're going to start making phone calls to expired sellers. You're going to start setting appointments. You're going to take a listing. You're going to be excited. You're going to share it with us. We're going to celebrate with you. You finally had your first proactive, you basically did all the work. You did the real work of real estate. You are now taking the first step to massive levels of continued success. Now, you're going to put it in the MLS. You're going to price it maybe at the same damn price, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. You're going to put a fresh description, fresh pictures. And even if it's been expired 100 times before, it's been with 100 different listing agents, you're going to have it sell right away on you. Why? Because it's a new listing. Now, I should have just said it had been listed once before. That would have been a better way of explaining it, like Julie did. So if it had been listed one time before, been on the market for, say, 6 months or 90 days or whatever, and then it expires, what happens is agents stop showing the older listings because the way the MLSs are designed, the new listings always are going to show up on the daily hot sheets, and the best buyers are getting those new reports of the newest listings. And a lot of times what buyers agents will do is they will essentially remove the older listings or the systems will essentially
Just pushes it down.
Exactly, pushes it down, so the buyers don't even see them. Now all of a sudden you've got this listing that just expired showing up as a new listing, and it sells right away. That is one of the gifts of hunting expireds, and it'll be weird because you're going to list an expired that some agent basically has had for 90 days and beat their head against the wall and just all these other things. You're going to relist it, and you're going to have a closing and a paycheck on it within 60 days of listing it. That's going to be something that only happens when you learn how to really work expireds. I mentioned our coaching program. It's very simple for you guys to join our coaching program for free. Just text the word expired. Listen, text the word Premier to 47372. Text the word Premier, Premier, to 47372. That's the coaching program that most of our coaching clients start in. And you do have a semi-private coaching call, which means you have every single work day. You have it's a group call basically with one of our Harris certified coaches, and you do have immediate access to all the first level of Premier coaching. And again, that's free. So just text the word Premier to 47372. And remember, when texting, message and data rates may apply. So the very first step, essentially the step that every single one of you should be taking, whether you're a brand new agent or not, is joining Premier Coaching, because there is no risk. It is free, and it'll at least get you started in real estate. And if you're been in real estate a long time and you're wanting to learn how to finally be a proactive lead generator and build a truly profitable long-term business, this is the next natural step for you. So text the word Premier to 47372. Text the word Premier to 47372. Or if you prefer not to text, you can just go to premiercoaching.com.
Yes. So you know what else is great about expireds? Everything that you just described, they didn't have to buy that lead or pay a referral fee on it.
That's right.
That's
they
pretty
didn't.
awesome.
Yeah.
The net is better. Okay, so point number 6, or secret number 6, virtually no one contacts the older expireds and withdrawn sellers. Many of those homes can achieve the price that they were trying a year or two ago. So be the one who calls them, and you'll be the one who takes those listings. You might be the only one calling when you go far enough back.
Okay, so we told you before, 90% of all expireds relist and sell within 12 months, and a vast majority of them relist within the first 30 days. But what happens is, over time, the sellers that don't relist right away, they do trickle back on the market 6 months, maybe 90 days from the original expiration date. But if you were in a marketplace where there's agents that are trying to do all the passive mailing and whatnot, they have long since stopped trying to solicit that seller to get that listing. So if you're calling them, not only are you going to find that sellers, frankly, going to be even more motivated than they were before. Maybe they took the house off the market because their new one's going to take 2 years to build. Mm-hmm. And maybe they kept, expired and they kept it off the market for a year. Now you happen to be the only one calling about that older expired. Guess what? You're going to have no competition. You're going to have a greater chance of getting that listing. Be excited about this. This is the reason we love expireds. Next point, Julie.
Yes, top secret, by the way. First and second quarter of 2020 is a honey hole of withdrawns, because what was happening then, everybody bailed on the market because of COVID.
Okay, so this is point number 7. Point number 7.
Yes, you can choose your listing inventory when you pursue expired listings. By targeting certain price ranges and neighborhoods and selecting the expired listings you pursue, you can actually curate your inventory. That's different even than calling 100 people from your past client list, your database. You can't tell who may or may not be going to list. Maybe somebody does want to, but it's not the greatest listing in the world.
Julie just touched on something. Hopefully it's not getting by you. So the problem with doing all the things that most of you are doing, the passive stuff, your centers of influence and past client marketing, you're waiting for your phone to ring, your social network media. Someone is trying to sell Julie and I on the idea of impressions this morning. Like, yes, they're trying to sell us an ad, and I took the call because they were a friend of a friend, and I listened to them explain that, we don't count clicks anymore. Clicks are the old way of doing it. Now we just count impressions. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? How is it? That doesn't even make sense. No. And then anyway, the conversation was diabolical, to be honest with you, because it was so just obtuse, because it goes down to the fact that she was trying to sell me something that I couldn't hold accountable for results. That's the problem ultimately with passive lead generation. You don't know whether it's going to work and when it's going to work. But with expired listings, I promise you, there are expired listings every single day. There are expired listings in every single market every single day. And whether you take or set an appointment and take the listing, it's dependent on your skill set. How focused you're going to be on getting that expired seller. How focused you're going to be on, frankly, doing the real work of real estate. You have control of that. Thus the word proactive lead generation versus passive lead generation. If you want a real strong sense of continued confidence in your business where you actually have real control, learn how to be a proactive lead generator. Be the one that decides whether you're going to take a listing this week or let alone 4 or 5. One of the things that all of our best coaching clients, I mean, there was a list that just came out with EXP, right? Where they're talking about the top individual agents, top teams, top the other things. And Julie and I had, guess what? Should be no surprise. A lot of our personal long-term coaching clients were on the list. Matter of fact, of the top 20, I think 3 of our personal coaching clients were on top 25 for, what was it? Oh, individual agent income.
That's in the country too, right?
Chuck Williamson, Heath Moulton, and Jen. Do you remember Jennifer's last name?
I don't, but John Walkinshaw of Canada.
Yeah, John Walkinshaw in Canada. And so all these are personal coaching clients, and there were others as well with teams and whatnot. So why are these the top agents at eXp Realty? Well, it's because they learned how to be proactive lead generators.
That's not a secret.
And they were willing to do the real work of real estate. They were smart, and they said, if everybody is running to passive lead generation in social media, I'm going to run the opposite direction because no one's doing the real work. And if you had to take one listing, and you had to take one listing today, it absolutely positively has to happen, right? What are you going to do? Make a bunch of TikTok videos, or are you going to pick up the phone and call an expired? It's obvious. So what happens if you started doing that every single day? You guys get the point I'm trying to make here? You can control your destiny financially. Julie, the last point is my favorite point.
Yes, Expired Palooza. We'll explain what that is in a second. Expired Palooza happens when the month turns over.
Well,
lots of listings expire on the first or the last day of each month.
Okay, we're going to build on that. So that's point number 8. It's our last point for today. We call it Expired Palooza. So why do most of the expired show up on the last day and the first day of the month? So at the end of this month, you're going to see maybe the last 2 or 3 days. Sometimes you see a lot of expireds. And then the first 2 or 3 days of the following month, you see a lot of expireds. Because listing agents, brokers set their listings to expire at the end of the month. Listing agents, brokers, listen to your old friend Tim, don't do that. Okay?
We used to make ours expire on whatever holiday.
Holiday, yeah.
Because nobody's going to be looking then.
No one's, right. So remember we told you that your number one competitor for an expired listing is going to be the previous listing agent. So current listing agents, don't have your listings expire on the first day, last day. Have them expire on days the agents won't be working. So if you happen to personally experience an expired listing, your listing doesn't sell and it becomes expired, have it expire on like Christmas Day or something, because the other agents won't be calling them. You guys get it? Because the number one agent that the sellers will relist with is the previous listing agent, and you just increased your odds. That's just advanced coaching for those of you who are already listing agents. But for the vast majority of you, Expired Palooza, first day, last day, but here's the advanced information. The best time of year to call expired sellers is the first day, last day of the month, right? Where it falls over a holiday, because the sellers are all going to be home and generally speaking in good moods. And if you are in a market like in San Diego, there's a few good agents that are actually making continuous prospecting calls. If you are in a market where there are other agents that are prospecting, they're taking the day off. So if you want to know how to have a really unfair advantage when going after expired sellers, Expired Palooza, and then intentionally call during, obviously, the first day, the last day, but call during the special times of the year where the first day, last day falls over a holiday week or weekend, for example.
Well, especially when the holiday is a Monday and it's not a holiday where it would be weird to call somebody, like President's Day, Labor Day, Memorial Day. There's at least 1 or 2 every quarter that is a fantastic calling, as well as door knocking day, because people are going to be home. Their kids are home from school, so they're going to be home.
Well, there's lots of little carve-outs that are like that. You could argue the end of June into July.
Sure.
Okay, here's another good time. There are, certainly towards the end of the year, there's lots of opportunities like this.
A lot of withdrawals fourth quarter because people want to take it off during the holidays.
Yep, totally. Go back. We're kind of bouncing around, but hopefully you guys are motivated. Remember, our mission is always to educate, motivate you, get you into action. Go back to look to see how many expireds there were. This is, this is spring 2023, right? Look to see how many expireds there were or withdrawals there were that happened in fourth quarter of last year, because all those sellers said, I'm just going to relist in the spring. Well, guess what? This is the spring. All those sellers are going to relist. I wonder how many other agents are actually soliciting those sellers for the purpose of getting those listings.
Well, it's absolutely true. If you're nerdy and follow the charts like I do, you can see a very specific upshoot in new listings, but also new pendings. It bottomed out absolutely like the last half of December and the first half of January. And you can chart week after week. It is steadily climbing. So the only question you have to ask yourself, listeners, is how many of those listing opportunities are you going to participate in? Because they are absolutely happening.
So, Julie, do you remember it was our first year in real estate? We called and expired. It was a condo development that was in Worthington.
Oh, yeah, that was
You remember?
great.
And we went on this listing appointment, and it ended up being like 30 condos or
Yeah,
something.
fantastic.
And they were previously listed with the agent who had been the #1 agent in Worthington, Ohio since
The beginning of time.
since people were riding around on dinosaurs. I mean, it's freaking forever.
Yes.
So she let these listings expire. She didn't even she was being complacent with them. She just figured that.
I remember the picture in the MLS, do you? It was a dirt pile and a 2x4 because when she originally listed it, it had not been developed yet. It was just dirt.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, and you and I were like, what? Because it was kind of an unusual zip code to have new construction in. So we went over there and they were almost fully built. They were like 75% done. She had never taken new pictures. So if I was a buyer's agent and I had somebody in that price range, I would just look at that picture and go, well, there's nothing to show there. It was very obvious why it had expired. But you bring up that example because when you look, and I absolutely coach our coaching clients and our coaches this way, when you watch your daily hot sheet, and that's when you'll see something like that pop up. That is expired new construction, one contact, one builder, multiple listings. And do you remember, it wasn't just all of those listings. It was the unintended consequences of the listings we took of people buying them.
Yeah, right. People were downsizing their big houses into those condos, and we were doubling, and then we sold a lot of the condos ourselves.
I loved that.
And that I know, and that worked for like 5 years until they were all sold. So guys, be motivated. This is one of the greatest opportunities in the last 15 years is going after expired listings. If you want to do your drip campaigns and your emails this and your social that, it's fine. But if you're, and this is the case that many of you are in financially, if you have to make money now, do you want to make money that might someday, or do make efforts that might someday hopefully pay off to create a lead? Or do you just want to go after the people in your marketplace who have their hands in the air right now saying, yes, I want to sell my house? Look, an expired seller, what do you know about them? You know their name, you know their phone number. You know what the price is. You call them, you know what their motivation is. You now know that the seller is probably going to be a heck of a lot more, shall we say, compliant to taking advice about how to position the house on the market correctly. Goldmine. It does not happen like this. It has not happened like this in virtually all of your careers. There's not been an opportunity like this. I'm getting the word out. Julie and I are doing our best to really open your eyes to the amazing opportunity it is in all of your markets. Look in your entire MLS. Don't look for reasons to invalidate what we're suggesting that you do with regards to expired sellers. Look for reasons why it should be your way forward. Yes, it's going to require skill. You can do it. Yes, it's going to require effort. You can do it. Yes, it's going to require some rejection. You can take it because the payoff is worth it. The next natural step for all of you is to join Premier Coaching. Text the words Premier to 47372 or just go to premiercoaching.com. In the meantime, guys, thank you for all your amazing feedback about this week's theme, which is, of course, expired sellers. It's one of our favorite topics, and it hasn't been so relevant in the last 15 years as it is now. So we get to talk about what we, frankly love about real estate the most is helping sellers that, frankly, the other agents had failed. So it really creates a lot of opportunity. Open your mind to all the opportunity that's available because of this market. If you think for a second that this is not the market for you, if you think for a second that there's not more opportunity now, you need to stop, frankly, associating with whatever or whoever is causing you to think like that. The reality of it is not all agents are going to succeed in this market because they're not willing to pivot and take a skills-based approach to this market. They're not willing to pivot and start doing the real work of real estate. A lot of agents were spoiled with the FOMO that's been omnipresent in the world, basically, where if I don't buy a house, I'm going to lose out. If I don't buy a house, I'm going to lose the interest rate, I'm going to lose out. If I don't sell my house, I'm going to lose out, right? FOMO, fear of missing out. That is, for the most part, no longer in the marketplace now. So now it becomes a skills-based market. Develop the skills quicker and you'll have essentially a long-term sustainable unfair advantage in the marketplace. Then, if you decide to do the passive stuff, do it. But build your business on a strong foundation of skills and having the mindset of service. Hopefully this resonates with all of you. And if it does, you know what to do. Join Premier Coaching. Text the word Premier to 47372. Remember, when texting, message and data rates may apply. There you guys go. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right, and don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video, and remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.